Hello, I'm Gene.
I'm Tracy.
Welcome to Just Dig It Farms.
Hey guys, welcome to our second episode of our Just Dig It Farms garden show, Let's Dig In. But today we're gonna do something different. I don't have like a lot of garden questions to answer or anything today, but we've been praying about ever since we bought our property for God to reveal to us the right time to share our testimony of how we got our land. And we just felt like now is the right time. So it's a beautiful day out here and we decided to come outside, sit by the creek and chat with you guys and share our testimony with you. So a lot of y'all I know are believing God for some impossible things. Y'all are dreaming some big dreams, believing God for your land, for a farm that you're dreaming of, for a home. There's a lot of you that through our chat and our community on the comment section, y'all have mentioned to me that, you know, you're praying for a homestead, you're praying for a farm to do what Gene and I are doing here and what a lot of other people are doing. And you're praying for that and you're believing God for that. And that's why we felt like this is the right time to share our testimony, because when we've mentioned to you in the comment section that I'm praying for you, I'm praying with you and believing God to give you those impossible dreams that you're dreaming, I truly am praying for you, because I remember being in that same situation.
Right.
We were like completely hopeless. It was absolutely impossible. There was no way we were ever going to be able to have this land and this opportunity to build our dream farm and to do what we wanted to do. It seemed at the time a ridiculous dream to even be dreaming it. It was, when you're trying to just buy groceries, it's hard to believe that you're going to be able to have something like this, or you're going to be able to obtain the dream that you're actually dreaming for. So we just wanted to, you know, share with you guys today our testimony in hopes that it is an encouragement and an inspiration to all of you out there who are believing for impossible dreams.
So in 2008, we had a lawn and landscape business and design business, Tracy and I, and there was I won't get into all of it, but there was a lot that went on during that year. Just kind of like now, gas was up to $4 something a gallon. We financially were just hopeless. We were in a bad situation. A lot of things were happening in our family, and we, just to be transparent, we lost our home.
Yeah.
Financially, we were ruined. So thank God he showed us a light at the end of the tunnel. We had hope. Our dream was still alive. The enemy sometimes suppresses things. I'm not going to say everything. A lot of the decisions that were made, yes, we made mistakes.
Yeah.
We did.
We made a lot of mistakes.
But a lot of it too, the enemy will beat you down if you, I mean, it just happens. It's life. You get beat down, things happen, circumstances, but thank God he brought us out of that. We were able to live with my parents. We moved into their garage, made us like an apartment kind of deal in their big garage.
No bathroom or kitchen, just like a little bedroom.
And share, but we had, you know, heating and cooling, and we made it work. And I took a job. I worked at a Publix at night at a grocery store, stocking.
We closed our business.
And we closed
down our business.
And then we were just trying to save. My parents allowed us to stay there, you know, basically at no charge. We helped with it, you know, all the utilities and everything, but it was just a blessing. But we were working as many hours as we could to save money to have a dream, to get our dream accomplished. And I was working 2 jobs. During the day, I had my regular full-time job, and then at night, I took a job at a Publix close by, working as a grocery stocker at night, and
and weekends.
I would work till about 11:30 at night, and then get home and get in bed around 12, and then have to be back at work the next day around 7:30, and that was brutal.
That was rough.
That was brutal. I did that for what, a year?
I don't know.
It
Seemed
was
like forever.
So I was trying to do everything we could do. We both were, and when we moved in with them, I got very serious about our finances. Got on Credit Karma, started researching all of our. There's things on our credit report. It wasn't even us, and I worked with the credit people and got things cleaned up, and it took a long time. I had to show all kind of documents. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But we finally got that cleaned up, and I thought we were on the right track, and we were.
Paid off some bills.
Paid a bunch of stuff off, and started getting on the right track. Credit stores started going up. We were allowed to save a lot of money, and so eventually we came down. We started looking for our dream. We started looking for some land to buy and where we could move, because I was ready to get out of my parents' house. How many know?
We were there for 3 years.
3 years, and I would joke with my parents, we're going back down to the dungeon. But it was great. I don't think anybody can really live with it. Once you get out, you got to get out, and you have your own ways of doing things, and nothing against them. They were fantastic. It's hard to live in the same home with another family.
Well, and it was rough too on us because we're in our mid-40s and we're starting all over, like completely starting all over again. Our youngest son, Chance,
was in college.
He had graduated from high school, and we had just moved him to college, and that's when we moved out of our old home that we had lived in for 18, 19 years, raised the boys there. That's the home we lost. That's our house that we lost, and we had to move. We moved from there and into their basement, and having to start all over in your mid-40s, that's pretty humbling and
sold a lot of our stuff.
Depressing.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what, in those times when things like that happen, that's when you find God. It's not that you find him, you just realize, man, he's really there. Even in the darkest hours and times, he's been there. I mean, like more so than any. And man, you draw closer to God, and he draws nigher to you, and it's man, it was amazing. And I remember at times just going down the road and singing praise and worship songs and just feeling the presence of God, fall over you, and man, just crying, going to work, God help us.
Yeah.
And he has, and he is. So we started saving, we're able to save some money, and we started getting a little anxious, I guess, and started riding around looking for land, looking on different sites and internet, and riding around the countryside thinking, we even looked at maybe moving to North Carolina.
We were open to whatever God had for us.
A job change, whatever. So I used to have a hunting club down in this area about 10 minutes away in Autauga County, and it was pretty much family. And we had that for almost 18 years. And so one day we just wanted to get out of the house. So Tracy and I was riding around, and I told her, let's ride down past the hunting club, and there's a road down here that goes to the river. So we were riding down through here one day, and it really is kind of, if you've ever been to Cage Cove in the Smoky Mountains, it's kind of reminds you a little bit of that.
Yeah, it does.
Down here and it's beautiful. Spanish moss from the trees, and it's just very unpopulated. I think the population here is like 225. It's like hardly anybody here.
Yeah.
Population here is about 225, and it is. If you see somebody at the stop sign, you probably know them. But it's so we were riding by one day and seen a big old for sale sign in this pasture, just
laid over on the ground. So
Tracy said, Gene, we need to get that number, and I'm like, we can't afford that. I said, you're out of your mind. And I kept driving, and she said, turn around and go get that number. And so we got the number, called the guy, and this man's name's Alan. And come to find out, he's a real estate agent, kind of part-time. And this was his family land that he was born and raised on with his brothers and sisters. And so he was telling me all these stories. So I arranged a trip to come back down, and I met with him. Tracy couldn't come for some reason. Work. And yeah, she was at work. And so we rode around. He showed me the property lines, told me how much it was. And I went back, gave the report to Tracy, and I told her, I said, there's no way. We can't afford this. There's no way, but it's literally paradise down here. And so...
Then I come and looked at it.
Yeah, so I brought my wife, Tracy, down, and we walked it over, and we fell in love with it. And we prayed over it. We had a few kisses while we were here. And so she made me really want to make more money so we could afford it. So we walked this property. We prayed over it. Yep. We even had scripture that was written out on paper. We put anointing oil on it. We buried it in the ground. Yep. And believed God that this was going to be ours. Yeah.
But let me back up for a second. So before we found this land, God had given me a dream. I had a dream of a piece of property, and in that property there was a creek, and the creek had big rocks and stones all in it, and this really old cool tree, and we were down in that creek, and God spoke to me in my dream that...
It'll be all right. Go ahead. She told me she was going to get emotional. I told her to go ahead and cry it out at the house, but it didn't work.
I can't help it. So God gave me this dream, and I knew he was speaking to me in the dream that the property was going to look like this. And when I saw the property, when we finally found it, that we were going to know that this was it. Without a shadow of a doubt, we would know that this was it. And it was going to look impossible. It was going to just look humanly impossible for us to ever be able to get that land. But for us to hold on to faith and confidence in him and believe in him, because he was going to bless us with it and give us
the desires of our heart.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what he did. So we were... Yeah. So we
wait a minute.
Okay, I thought you were still crying. I'm trying to help out here.
Don't ruin the story.
Okay.
So he also told me, after I had woke up from my dream, a few days later, I was reading the scripture in Joshua, and God spoke to me that when he blesses us with this property, for us to go take stones out of the creek and build a little monument on our property, so that when our children, our children's children, when they see that monument and they ask, what does this mean? We can share the story of how God blessed us and redeemed us and restored, our life and our situation. And that's exactly what we did. Right after we signed the contract on this property, we went down and gathered stones from the creek, and we built this little cross monument that we have right down here by us. And we've had multiple people, not just our children, but anybody that comes here, they always ask us, do we have a pet buried there? And we don't, but we get to share our story and our testimony of how good God is and what he's done in our lives.
We got with Alan, and we gave him, the man that owned this property was in the Air Force. He had 2 little kids, and they basically were living here in a camper too, just on the weekends, and they were gonna actually build a house.
Alan sold, this was his family property, and he sold it to this gentleman. Yeah. And now he was selling it for this gentleman who was in another... Colorado or somewhere.
In the Air Force. And Mr. K. So we communicated with him. Alan told him that we discussed that we would pay like $5,000 down.
$1,000 down. That's all we had.
$1,000 down. Tracy's, I just make the money. She's the one that does it. So $1,000 down, and then we had to do
$500 a month.
$500 a month. And Alan went back and told the gentleman. The gentleman said, "There's no way."
He wanted to just sell it and be done with it.
Drop it. So again, remember, this was in 2000.
It was 2014.
2014. We were rocking along, working, saving money. We were almost quit looking at property because it was just hard to find, and we knew this is what we wanted. We were walking the track one night, about 7:30. It was almost dark in the summer, and just de-stressing. And I'd got a new job, new phone, everything, and great opportunity. And I believe God blessed me with that job. That's a whole nother story, but
yeah,
it was actually in the IT field, computers and stuff like that, big stuff. So anyway, so we were walking the track, and at about 7:30, my phone rang. And I remember the exact spot I was standing on that track with Tracy when we were walking. He said, "Gene, I found you." He said, "This is Alan." And I promise y'all, I about had a coronary right there walking. And he said, "Man," he said, "you're hard to track down." He said, "I ended up got your dad's number and got you, and you changed phones." But he said, "Mr. K said that he would do that deal you told him." And I literally
I think we ran that track.
Oh my God. We started shouting and thanking God. Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
And you know,
it was crazy because like this whole time he had told us no, that he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that. And we were continuing to look. We were like still looking at property, but everywhere we found, it just didn't compare. And we just felt like we knew this was our property. And we just kept praying for it and believing God that he was gonna change Mr. K's mind and that he was gonna make it possible, because we knew that this was it. Like, we knew without a doubt this was what God had for us.
And you know, the terms that we had on this was we were going to do $1,000 down and $500 a month. Well, the deal was our credit was not good enough for us to just go out and get a loan and pay for this.
No.
We did not have good credit. We were still building it.
Yeah.
So what we did is we talked them into agreeing to a lease purchase. We had discussed doing a lease purchase with Mr. K, and he approved of it. We were going to do $500 a payment a month and $1,000 down
for 2 years.
For 2 years. But again, our credit was not good enough, so we had to do this. So, and the terms were, when we got it written up with a lawyer, we had to have it, all the money that was paid into this, if in 2 years we didn't have it put into our name, we would lose it all. All the money, we'd lose this property.
Yeah.
So we were coming down here, we were coming down here on the weekends and doing work.
Yeah.
And just believing by faith. That we were going to do this and turn it over.
And in those 2 years, we had 2 years to get our own financing and buy the land from him, or he was done with us.
And we went and seen the different Alabama landholders, different businesses, and they would not do it.
There's no way.
They wouldn't do it. So, and then they told us, they said, the only way we could do something like this, if you had X amount and you did this. And it was like, there is no way.
It was a lot of money
to
have up front.
A lot of money.
A lot.
So, long story short, this is where this new job I got came into play. I had just started this job, and I'm telling you guys, I think Sasquatch is over here. What was that?
I don't know.
We got some wild animals around here.
It's awesome. You never know what you're gonna see
out
here.
So we got this new job, and one of my very first accounts, I went and did I'm not knocking on my chest, I'm knocking on my head. Okay. I went and knocked on, in the previous jobs, I knew this account, and this account's huge. I mean, like, in Birmingham, and they're outside of Birmingham. Locations all over the world. They had a data center in Birmingham, Colorado, and in Boston. And huge computers, not the little bitty self-computers. I'm talking about master, big computers, supercomputers. So that's what I sold, was engineers and software and all that kind of stuff. Well, they needed software support for all their different platforms. I walked in the door, and in less than a month, I had sold them a service agreement for all 3 data centers.
Yeah.
That was favor of God.
Praise God.
That commission check on that account was enough.
Almost enough for a down payment, for the down payment on our land.
Which was how much money?
We had to have $30,000 cash.
$30,000?
We had to bring $30,000 cash to the table.
We were worried about getting groceries, and then all of a sudden...
Yeah. It was like...
Yeah.
Impossible for something like that to... It's never happened again.
It was
but
like...
it was impossible.
It was like we knew that God had his hand in this, because it was almost the exact number we had to have at all these time periods for this to work.
Yeah.
And we knew that God had his hand in this, and we weren't worried about it then, because we knew that God's answering our prayers and faith, and it was just, we went on it. God put us on another level at that point with our faith.
Yeah.
Because restoration started happening with our son.
Yeah.
Chase.
Yeah.
Things started working out better for my Chance, my other son.
Yeah.
And
one day Chase is going to share his testimony with y'all. That's a good one.
So we went to multiple places, trying to get a loan for this land, and we got denied several times. Not enough this, not enough that, credit score, your past history, you name it. Student, you name it, whatever. But we went to a company, and a well-known company, and they had favor. We had favor there. They told us that they wanted to give us on the land a 7-year note, and we were like, how are we going to pay a 7-year note?
It was a very substantial monthly payment. Very substantial. It was a lot. And
they said the only way we can do this deal with y'all, if y'all do a 7-year term, and interest rate was really a good rate. I think it was like good. 4%. Was it 4%? It was very good.
It was a good
at
rate.
The time.
Yeah.
And the payment,
and the $30,000 that we had to have at the table.
And they said they would do it, and they wouldn't go longer with us because our payments would be less, and they said that wouldn't be a very smart financial move for us or them. So, we pay very little interest, and guess what, guys? This land will be paid off next year.
4th of July.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
And we did not tie our land in with our home. That was going to be no way that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I told Tracy, if something happened, we will be living in a yurt.
Like
we will be cavemen out here. So, but this land will be paid off, thank God. And it'll free us up more financially to be able to have money for things we need to get done here on the farm.
Yeah.
Because we're on a tight, strict budget.
Yeah.
Because that's actually like an extra, our land payment's almost as much as our mortgage payment.
Almost. It's like 2 mortgages.
Yes.
But we were just so grateful and so thankful. And then what happened, so the mortgage company, the land company, we finally worked all that out. We signed the contract on our land in 2016.
Something like that.
2016. And then we decided we wanted to build a little farm home. That's like always been my dream, to have a farm home. But we went to the bank to see about getting a loan for that too.
It's going to get a friend of mine to build it for us. He's a contractor.
Yeah. We went through all those steps, but then it was like the bank recommended that we wait and save up another big chunk of money for a year or two. And we just couldn't live in the basement anymore.
I wasn't going to live there.
We couldn't live in the dungeon anymore. So we had been looking. Gene found this modular home, and we had been looking at it and going back and forth of why we shouldn't or why we should. And we just made the decision, we're gonna get that home, we're gonna be content, we're gonna be happy, and that's gonna be our forever home, and we're gonna make it beautiful, and that's gonna be our home. But then we needed another $15,000 cash to bring to the table to be able to get our home.
Just
and we were like,
opportunity for God.
Wow.
He showed out.
And he showed out. In just no time at all, he got another one of those great sales, and we got just the amount in commission that we needed for the down payment on the house, and the money also that we needed for the septic and the pad and all that kind of stuff. It was like exact dollar amount that we needed to do that. And we've never had another one of those checks since then. but God provided those just when we needed them.
Yeah, but the thing is now, God blessed me with a job that I love. A friend of mine gave me his job. He got promoted. He's my boss. I met him through sales events that go on through the state, and I've known him for a while, and it is just amazing. I mean, just a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to worry about the stress of making all these sales to make commission, because I can make it all in my salary.
It's awesome. God's just so good. We're just so super thankful for all God's blessings, and we got this farm, we got our home, and then it was like, now we got all these things to do, like to build our farm, and it all costs money, and we need a tractor. We need a tractor, we needed this, we needed that. We got infrastructure to build, and all those things cost money.
Hey, but I got a John Deere. And it's almost paid off.
Yeah, almost. But God just always provides. He just seems to always provide. Like when we're ready to do a project, or when there's something that needs to be done, he just always provides, either by somebody blessing us with that material that we need, or us just finding things, or I don't know, just unexpectedly God blesses us, just like with our beekeeping. We have friends just call and just give us all the beekeeping equipment we need. He just always provides, and it's usually a test of our faith. Are we still going to trust him? Are we going to keep trusting him? Are we going to keep believing that he is going to meet our needs and make impossible situations possible? And he always does. He always comes through.
And we Tracy and I promised God when we got this place that it was going to bring, we were going to point everything back to him. This farm, everybody that enters, and let me say this, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm just a worm. I mean, I'm a worm. But I tell you what, I know who my Father is.
Yeah.
And he forgives me, and we're not perfect at all.
By no means.
Don't claim to be.
By no means.
But he, Bible says those he loves, he chastens, and he whoops me up pretty good a lot of times. A lot of times. But you know what's great about it? I know we're loved, I'm loved, and we just want to, that's the dream of this farm, is to be able to give back. Mm-hmm. We want to help people, bless people, mm-hmm. and
encourage.
Yes, whatever we can do. And
inspire, uplift.
Yes.
I mean, that's number one goal. That was the goal of starting this channel, was to inspire, encourage, and uplift. Because to be honest with you, I went through a period of time where I was very depressed because of some family situations. And just God would just send me little things, like just seeing a little video that somebody had posted, or just different situations, and it would lift me up. and it would encourage me and inspire me and keep going, keep pursuing your dream. Don't stay in this dark place. Get up and go and pursue and believe. And that's why I wanted to start this channel. That's why we wanted to start this channel, was to just help encourage, uplift, inspire. You know, I know that there's people out there. I know that some of y'all out there that are watching this, you're dreaming of owning your own piece of property, whether it be an acre or whether it be 20 acres or whatever it be. You're in a situation where you may be in your mother-in-law's dungeon, right, or basement right now, and it's just absolutely looks impossible for you to have what you're dreaming for. But I believe that God is a God who gives us the desires of our hearts if we are seeking Him first. Yes. And I'm believing with y'all. Jean and I are believing with y'all for God to make your impossible dreams, your impossible situations, whether it be dreaming for your land or dreaming for the salvation of your children, the restoration of your children's lives, whatever it is that you guys are believing God for and dreaming for. We just are in agreement with you right now that God's going to provide for you, and He's going to give you the desires of your heart.
One thing I want to say too, kind of rewinding back, when we were looking at this land, when we were looking at this land, we knew this was our place, because God knows how much I love deer hunting. I love being in the woods at daylight, being able to pray in God's creation. We walked right over here. It was just right over here. I stepped over a brand new baby fawn, still wet from birth. Never seen it. Tracy's behind me. She said, "Gene, look, it's laying on the ground, just beautiful." I mean, it was no bigger than a little squirrel, and it was beautiful. We've got a picture of it. She didn't bring it with her.
I'll put it on here.
But that's new beginnings. That was God showing us
new beginnings.
All things new. I'm making all things new through you guys. And beautiful as a deer. And that speaks to me. And then the other thing I was going to say is, like this morning at church, there's a lot of people out there, when God was walking across the lake in the storm, Peter was like, let me believe more, let me believe, help my faith, let me walk on the water with you. Peter stepped out of the boat. He got out of his situation, trusted God, and went out on the water.
In faith.
Was walking in water in faith.
In faith.
Okay? But when Jesus told Peter to come, He didn't just say, "Hey, Peter, come out here." He said, "Come." He said, "Come." Guess who the other 11 was in the boat? The other disciples, scared to death. They could have come too. They didn't. They sit back and watched. And they're living off Peter's faith.
Yeah.
So if you have faith, and faith is confident in your hope. You have hope that you're going to get something. And you got to have confidence knowing that God's going to provide for you in that. And if you do that, God will bless you.
Yeah.
And
that was our message this morning from Pastor Brandon. And
exactly.
it was like, wow, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
And to me, that was confirmation this morning
that's
from
right.
God. It's time to share our testimony with you guys. And I think maybe our hesitance in it a little bit too was just, it's kind of hard to be so transparent with people we don't know. We don't know all of y'all. It's hard to be transparent about the situation, losing our home, things like that. But it don't matter. Pride is all out the window. All that's out the window. That don't even matter. It's about if we can help encourage one of you guys. We got to go take care of a barn that a tree fell on.
Tree fell on the barn. Kind of had a mishap yesterday with the, anyway. We got some guys coming up here with a crane in just a minute, so.
All right, you go help them. I'm going to say goodbye.
Have a great day. Go.
Yeah, Gene had to go meet the guy about trying to help us get this tree off the barn. It's in a situation where he can't get up there and get it without it being too incredibly dangerous. So I told him yesterday afternoon, please call our friend up the road and see if he can bring his equipment and get it off. I do not want anybody getting hurt. So he's going to go up there and meet with him and get that taken care of. But I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for joining us, for joining our farm and our family, and for allowing us to share our testimony with you guys today. We really hope, I hope that y'all can see our heart, that we really, truly hope that we can be an inspiration and an encouragement to each and every one of you guys. And we truly are. Those of you who have reached out to me personally and told me that you are praying and believing God for some big things, I want you to know that we truly do pray for y'all, and we truly are believing God to make your impossible dreams possible. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Next episode, episode 3, we'll talk gardening. God bless you. I'll see y'all in the next video.